Listen, I understand that pickleball is fun, but I think every pickleball player can admit that it is a noisy sport, and it has resulted, obviously, in a lot of discontent.
Is there any chance you're the one that's putting oil on the court? Somebody from the neighborhood just putting oil on the court, so we can't play here right now. So if you're not the one, if you happen to talk to the other people, if they put oil again, these houses, they're going to have some problems.
Welcome to Who Dinks Wins from the Special Pickleball Service with me, Coach Montgomery.
Me, Coach Philip.
And me, Coach Beresford.
This week we're 21 episodes, that is, not years, although it might seem like it. We've grown up. We have left further education. We are joining the real world. Although we have been drinking for years, we can officially go down the pub with Dad. We celebrate our coming of age, talking pickleball versus the people. As the sport surges in popularity, so too is the conflict between players and residents next to public and private courts. This is a real problem for the growth of pickleball for sure. Joining us is friend of the show and all-round Housewives Choice, Nicholas Tingle.
Hi there. Hi, guys.
How do you feel about being Housewives Choice, Nick?
It depends on the housewife, I suppose. Which housewife are we talking about?
Well, probably yours, I guess, but
well, no, I think it's no, I would hate to say that. No, she works. She's got a real job.
So I think we were using the term metaphorically rather than suggesting that that women are housewives. We're just sort of using that sort of friendly term that maybe you're an attractive.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure that's a term you can use anymore, is it? Housewife? I mean, that's like a 60s thing.
God, he's been given a compliment and he's finding ways to
homemaker. Homemaker's choice.
Homemaker's choice.
I think it was kind of direct. I think it came from Simon Bates or something. He was Housewives Choice because he always used to do that thing in the afternoons on Radio 1. So Housewives like to listen to him. Maybe they like to listen to you, Nick. I don't know. But anyway, we played a clip earlier on of the Riconada face-off, which is two courts in Los Gatos, where there's been
the ones that were doused with oil.
Yeah, it was covered one night with oil from the residents, and there's been constant aggressive bickering there to an extent where they have been closed down till future notice after one of the residents ordered a cease and desist order on them. So the council couldn't afford to fight it. So they remain closed. They were going to be resurfaced. Wow. But this is, I think, atypical across the nation. The problem is those whiffle balls are too loud. And until someone invents a new ball, it's going to continue to be a problem.
They were playing on them yesterday. So they're maybe defying the ban. And I saw a lot of people out there yesterday.
Really? So there are people there. Even though the council have closed it down and said you can't play here, they're still playing.
Yeah,
so that's going to cause even more problems. Yeah.
Is there a way of like locking? There's no like fence, right? Is there, or is there?
There is a fence, yeah, and a gate.
Oh, people just hop over it then.
No, it's about 20 foot high. So yeah, Spider-Man was playing with.
Actually, those courts are. It is a tennis court, so it is four pickleball courts with the markings on there and. The residents were happy enough when it was a tennis court because it didn't get too much use, just had enough. And there's a lovely sound of racket against tennis ball in the summer or throughout the year. But then pickleball moved in, therefore loads of people descended on it. And they always used to park in front of the locals' houses. And then there's just the infernal din that's associated with pickleball that just drove them mad. And there's one chap that was particularly hostile. So I've coached there, and I've run into this guy loads of times. I suppose he's just a person that's really, really upset with it, and he takes it out on everybody. Maybe he's a nice guy, I don't know, but. He's certainly deeply unpleasant to anybody playing there, and if you're a coach, really unpleasant to you. And
you can understand it, can't you? He moved in, and there were tennis courts, a nice dull thud,
Well, do you think
you know,
do you
and then
think though?
suddenly there's swarms of people playing pickleball, and
Mhm.
there's that, and that pop is just incessant. It must create
But do you think
tinnitus.
though? Do you think maybe did people complain about tennis when it first started with municipal courts?
No,
Is there
because
something inherently better about the sound of a
it's much quieter, isn't it, for a
So
start?
well, you
so
still
you
hear
have
it.
a minimum of 2 people, maximum of 4 people on a tennis court. On that one tennis court, you'd have
Yes.
40 people.
Ray, do you know how much a candy bar costs?
About $100.
16.
People waiting, 16 at any one time playing. So there's the noise of that, and then you've
Yeah,
got people
true.
waiting,
Coming and going.
and then a constant conveyor belt of people showing up or playing or whatever. So
And I would
totally get
suggest also that, you know, you don't make a pop with a tennis ball until you are at a professional level.
You cannot be serious!
It's a bit like when I hit a football, it has a different noise to other people when they hit it.
It's the sound of bone china being broken.
The sound of booing.
So, Nick, we've brought you on as our special guest, not only because you're our mate, but also because you have your own pickleball court. So you're like the envy of the pickleball
Fancy.
world.
Hot cheese!
When did you put it in?
Probably 2 years ago, maybe longer now. And yeah, we'd played a little bit. I'm not quite sure why we got the idea to put it in because we hadn't really played much at all, but it seemed like a fun game, sport. And we're like, oh, we had this sport court which was mostly, like a basketball court, which was I don't really play a lot of basketball one-on-one, so for a mere insert amount of money here, we could expand that and turn it into a pickleball court. And we thought, as in our, twilight years, that's what the older people play. And we're like, maybe we'll, have fun doing this into our old age.
So there was a different court surface on there before, and you replaced that completely and put a whole new surface.
Yeah, there were still tiles. There's still the tiles, but they couldn't use the old tiles because then they couldn't charge us so much. So we bought some whole new tiles, and they, like I said, they look lovely, and it has like a professional net, that's embedded into the concrete, and we put lights in and fences all around. So we use it as a social thing. We use it, on a Sunday, we'll invite people over in the summer for barbecue and pickleball, that sort of thing. But it turns out we end up having more fun playing pickleball at the club, just because there's more people to play against, and it's a greater variety. But it's super nice to have our own court as well, and it's also good for drills and practicing.
There are special Tingle rules, aren't there? Because you have got no.
We're constrained on our size, so there's not much space between the back line and the fence as you would like. So you end up getting really good at half volleys on the back line, or equally well at hitting balls really deep that are hard to get.
You know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin.
But it only detracts a little bit, and I wouldn't say swapping between this court and a bigger court or a court with more space is a huge thing. It's far better having that court than no court.
It does mean with Nick's court that because the fence is so close and the court is probably what is it, a foot short maybe in total?
It's 9 inches short, which is that much.
That's what you've been telling everybody, yeah.
And because of that, when you serve, your backswing would hit the fence. So there is an additional rule that you can serve inside the court.
We let people put their foot on the line or just over the line. Otherwise, you'd hit the fence on your backswing, and that's caught me a couple of times playing on a regular court because I'm like, oh, I can't do that here.
Yeah, I was saying it's like when you used to go around to people's houses and they had a snooker table in a room that didn't quite fit, and you ended up having to
put
the ball like that.
That's right.
Yes.
And so, what does your neighbours think of it? And I don't know where you live, but do you have a good relationship with your neighbours? Do they care about it?
How much did you discuss it with them before?
Neighbours, better ask for forgiveness and permission. We don't generally use it a whole lot, generally once a week, and we stop around 10, though it is light. There are lights, so we could go later, but we don't tend to go more than about 10 o'clock. So I had no complaints so far. The police haven't called. But I do have another friend who was thinking about putting in a pickleball court on his much larger property, and he made the mistake of asking his neighbors.
It's got to be much easier to convert your tennis court to a pickleball court or a few pickleball courts as opposed to build it from scratch? Do you need like planning permission and that to build it, or because you expanded yours, you didn't need that?
No, I think there's a coverage issue. As long as you can only have so much of your property paved or whatever. But if you're not building a structure, like a ADU or something, even an ADU nowadays you can build, there isn't really an issue. The lights might be an issue, but we already had lights, so we didn't even ask about that.
Yeah, you've been quite lucky. If I remember rightly, that at the back of your garden there are neighbours quite close, but either side they're about 4 miles away, aren't they? So it doesn't
Yes.
really,
I wondered, so we got friends that are also in Los Gatos that have neighbors that built a pickleball court. So in their backyard, they've got a swimming pool and they occasionally have parties and that kind of stuff. And they said it's, that they always tell their neighbors that we could have people around if it's too much, just tell us. But their neighbors have a pickleball court that's floodlit, and they said the noise is horrific sometimes. And
Right.
it's not just the sound of pickleball. What happens is, because pickleball's kind of that fun environment, people
Social.
bring out their music.
Yeah.
So there's music, and they said there's the shouting all the time. There's the whooping and screaming and the whatever.
That
And,
was never out. Yes.
yes, exactly. I saw green. I wonder what it does to the value of a property if you're trying to put your house up for sale and then you do a bit of a look around and you go, oh, hang on, they've got a pickleball court next door. That's going to be noisy. I wonder if it starts to have that sort of effect. And I think that, I mean, the fun police in Los Gatos is very different to the sort of the vibe you get in Berkeley. So I mean, a completely different town with different sort of bylaws, that kind of stuff. Whereas I think here it's a little bit more anything goes. In Los Gatos, they're very stringent over certain and quite petty over certain things. As you say, if you're having a party beyond 10 o'clock, you know, have the police turn up because it's too loud. Crikey. Try living in London or something, or I'm sure San Francisco. But do you feel that that there could be, I mean, it's an open question to all of us, but is there a correlation between property prices and the general sort of the surge of pickleball is actually affecting neighborhoods in terms of how whether you sell your house and all that kind of stuff? Because it's legal to have a pickleball court anywhere in California, I believe, but I think in certain parts of New York they've restricted it or said you've got to take it down because of the noise.
Oh, by the way, if I'm at a party where it goes on beyond 10 o'clock, I'll ring the police so I can go home. But I wonder what the answers are moving forward. Obviously, we've tried the paddles that don't make much noise, because you can't have no noise. Imagine hitting the ball with no noise. It would be horrendous. You've got to have some noise,
some feedback,
to feel as if you're hitting it for timing. And no one's come up with a solution for the ball yet. Although I was discussing earlier on that in LA, I don't know if you've been down to Venice Beach, they've got a load of courts there, but they're not quite pickleball courts. They're slightly bigger. I don't know if you've seen them. They call it something else. And they call it paddle, I think. But they puncture a tennis ball. That's all they do. Normal tennis ball, they puncture it. And it doesn't make much of a noise at all. Perhaps this is the way forward. I don't know. But until someone invents a ball that doesn't make any noise, which is almost impossible, I can't see how things are going to improve.
The previous person I mentioned who didn't put a cord in, bought me a pack of squishy balls. I could go and get one if you want.
Sure.
I've got a squishy ball from a couple of weeks ago when I played with my nephew.
How are they feeling?
I think they feel okay. You're more than welcome to fill them for me if you want, Coach Phillips, just to make sure they're all good. But if you spent all that money, I mean, I haven't even discussed that, how much it costs to put in a court. But if you spent all that money and you get home from work at sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock or whatever it might be, you want to play for an hour or two, that's kind of harsh.
It might be a decibel thing, if it goes over a certain decibel level, then maybe that's too noisy, like party or music would be.
Perhaps roofing is the answer, but then it'll make it blisteringly hot in the summer.
Like enclosing it, putting something over the top.
Just a simple roof to dampen the noise might be an answer.
But then is it much noisier than somebody's leaf blower or that?
It's not, but they have restricted the hours on leaf blowers now, haven't they? You're not allowed to do leaf blowing after, I think it's 7 o'clock now. That's a recent law.
And not on a Sunday.
Yeah. which is good. I must admit, if I lived next to a pickleball court, it would drive me nuts. Unlike Coach Kim saying she loves the sound of pickleball in the morning, like Apocalypse Now. If I paid 3 million quid for a house and I got people playing pickleball next to me with that noise, I'd be well pissed off.
Yeah, you do wonder if there has to be a
lucky to buy a
disclosure
house
now.
for 3 million quid in Los Gatos.
True. Yeah, if I bought a small bungalow in Los Gatos for 3 million quid.
All right, so I found one of the
ball.
balls, and I found this is just a guest paddle that we give so that we have an advantage over our guests. So
Right.
you can hear.
You can't hear anything though, and
No.
that's not going to travel the same way.
But I haven't really tried. I haven't never tried playing with it. I think the problem is it would change the game. You know,
Yeah.
it would bounce differently, you'd serve differently, it would spin differently.
And there must be a lot of people out there trying to invent a ball that doesn't make any noise because they'll
Right.
be loaded if they manage
Well,
to.
would you do the ball or the
The
paddle?
ball, I think,
Yeah.
because we did that. We had those paddles down at the club, didn't we, Phil?
The owl.
Was
Yeah,
it
you
called
still
the
do.
Owl?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
And
brand.
they were horrendous. I thought they were awful things.
I think a new ball, a new type of ball, would be the way forward for
Well,
that.
but I
But it
think,
would have to happen at the pro level,
Mm.
and then make its way down.
when it comes to municipal courts, I suppose the problem is that a lot of places have, tennis courts that have been there for like 30, 40 years, maybe longer. And they're like, there's a demand for turning them into pickleball courts. I mean, that's true in Los Gatos.
I was told about, I think it's 15 courts just being built near the gridiron station in San Jose. Right, that's right in the middle of nowhere, next to where they play ice hockey. Apparently, there's a load of
Right.
courts being built there, brand new.
Okay.
So that sort of is perfect in an
Industrial
industrial
area.
kind of area. Yeah, I think I think as you say, yeah, when it's close to houses, I think it's probably a no-go.
What does it cost? I mean, Nick, I don't know necessarily how much you spend on a pickleball court, but does anybody know how much it costs to put in a court? If you had to do it from scratch, what's the ballpark we're talking about here?
I'd say $50,000, $60,000 probably.
I think it's a little bit more than that, Nick, because I remember at the hub that each individual court was more like 100 because they had to dig down,
Yeah.
lay concrete, and then build the plastic surface up. So you're talking about proper courts. I think it's nearer to 100, maybe even more a court.
Yeah, it's funny. So the guy that put in our court, he sort of came out of retirement, and and he used to do, convert movie theaters and do things in tennis courts, I think he did. And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, okay, I'll build you one of these pickleball courts or whatever it's called." And and he and he did. He did a great job putting in our courts and our lights and stuff like that. And then he's suddenly like, "Nick, like I've got so much demand." I'm like, so he was putting in Paris Hilton's court last I checked. But yes, there's just huge demand. I mean, there are people in Los Gatos that are put him in their front yards, just on in the neighborhood.
Saw that in the manor. There's somebody there and one in their front yards, and they go out and play on it. Converted the grass to a pickleball court in their front yard.
And I think that's pretty dubious as well, right? Can you put a tennis court in your front yard or a pickleball court?
Right.
Yeah. I guess you do it until someone tells you can't.
But yeah, the way forward, we'll have to see. I think they will, unlike you, Phil, I think they will restrict hours. I think that will become a thing, I'm sure. If they're going to restrict the hours of leaf blowers, they're going to restrict the hours of
I think that what they'll do is that
pickleball.
they'll use the rules that are already there. It'd be hard to retroactively put in some rule just for one particular court. They'd probably have to say one particular sport. They'd probably have to say, just there are rules about noise, and they would probably just start enforcing them more.
Yeah.
We got a cease and desist letter from Los Gatos Council or town or whatever for petrol-powered leaf blower. So I was snitched on by somebody, and I said, "So have you got proof of this?"
Roger said he did have proof. He told me.
No, he didn't, and I had this backwards and forwards with the town for ages about this. And I want you to take me to court, and I want to see your proof because you don't have proof, and I know you don't have proof because I didn't do it. And they said, "Well, it might have been somebody near your property with a petrol-powered." And they're relentless, absolutely relentless. And you think with the time that it costs, the opportunity cost just to have chased me about a problem that was just never there in the first place. If Los Gatos just spent, let's just say they invested $250,000 in maybe 6 pickleball courts on a piece of land that's just removed a little bit, they would get that back within a couple of years in various fees and what have you. And it'd be a massive investment for the community. I have no idea why they don't do it. They just seem very, very short-sighted to me. And that's genuinely speaking, I mean, I've been to these council meetings before representing La Riconada, and the bureaucracy, red tape is worse than the French.
City Ordinance 132R prohibits the begging.
When you have to pay $200,000 just to be able to get planning permission, no wonder that most people don't do it. I mean, that's the case, isn't it?
It is. And actually, you have to, if you're going to do a refit or remodel of your house, if you move a light switch, you have to have planning permission to do that. So you have to pay a certain amount to. So if you remodel your bathroom and you move any plug point, any plumbing or whatever, the faucets, taps to you and me, are in a different place, you have to get planning permission for it.
Oh, Coach Phillips' tip is in.
Okay, so tip of the week this week is about poaching. Does anybody know what poaching is?
Yeah, right. Ask Barry. He does a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm poacher come gamekeeper these days, but but yes, poaching is basically intercepting your partner's shot to put it away for them, to either confuse your opponent or just because you're a greedy bastard.
It's any time when you're playing with Phil when you hit the ball instead of him.
But also at that professional level, they line that up. They do it all the time, and it's a good shot, isn't it? It's a good shot if you score. If it's not a good shot if you miss.
So why do you do it?
You confuse the opponent.
Yeah, so it's a surprise way of winning. So it's if you cross over the center line and take a ball traditionally out of the air that was heading towards your partner. So that would be a poach, and you do it because it's confusing for the opposition, surprising, and you're hoping to win that. Yes, when you're a top level, you put your hand behind your back and do an open palm to show that you're going to do the poaching. And it's often when your partner is deep and you're up by the net that you can jump across, get that poach.
Is it a poach when what Barry does when he pushes you out of the way in the middle of the court when the ball's in the air and says "mine"?
Nick did that. Nick did that with a friend of ours just yesterday. Pushed her out of the way, but actually trampled on her during it, left her on the ground.
Good grief, it gets worse and worse.
And won the point. However, we did have to replay it because we said
everyone else stopped.
Down.
Everyone else stopped, and I put it away.
And what's your sort of big tip part of this then?
I think it's just something that you should not be afraid of doing. I think poaching is quite a fun part of the game that I don't think happens often enough, and I just like to encourage it. But it's not really a beginner thing. It is a move I think is worthy and worth practicing.
It almost always happens though when your partner is further behind. It never happens when you're both at the net.
No, it's not. It should be happening when one of you's deep, one of you's at the net. They're playing the ball to your partner. You leap across and get it.
Yeah,
and you can do the hand signal first if you and your partner know what you're doing.
It's effective.
And do the hand signal behind your back, and then so that they know you're going to do that. And then if it takes you too far, then you're going to switch.
Yeah, that's the thing to remember, is that you've got to switch. When you see your partner do that, they jump in front of you to take the ball. You got to switch to their side because they've lost their momentum. They're going to the right or to the left. You've got to swap places, or else if you don't put that poach away, you're going to leave yourself woefully exposed. And the other thing I would just add to all of this is to tell your partner that you might do the odd poach in this game, because they might lose their confidence a bit because, hey, are they taking all my shots because they don't believe in me?
Yeah, but what happens sometimes is you poach and fail, right? You poach it and you hit it into the net. That's going to stop you trying to poach for a while, especially if your partner gives you the evil eye.
The point being is that poaching is about throwing an unexpected element into the game to break up the game, break up the flow, whatever it might be. So, and usually you're setting it up. If you're a good player, you can set your partner up for the poach, so that you're forcing the opponent to put it in the air or do something to it that is very predictable, that your partner can then put it away in such a way that they weren't expecting. So it's about the element of surprise.
Yeah, your opponent thinks they've got time to come to the net, and suddenly you've taken it out of the air unexpectedly, and they don't have time, and they hit the net or whatever.
Oh, Coach Philip's tip is out.
Nick, are you coming to the studio show on the 11th of December?
Well, we're just back from England on the 10th, so I guess there's no reason I can't.
Anybody wants to come, please, special pickles ball service at gmail.com. Email us. And if you want to join in the show like Nick as well, please email us on the same. And I've just run out of Branston pickle, so that is very fortuitous that you're coming.
Oh, I can definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be
you
great.
can buy that at cost plus, by the way.
Yeah, it's not the same though, is it?
About $10.
It's imported from Saudi Arabia or something. It doesn't taste quite right.
I just eaten some Branston pickle with my lunch.
So did I. Branston pickle, cheese with a bit of soup. And next week we will be announcing another giveaway. The lovely people at Cypher Shoes are giving us a pair of training shoes in your size, obviously, worth $150 to give away on the show. So we'll tell you how you can win those next week.
Pickleball specific shoes.
Court shoes specific. They are pickleball specific, you're right. Yeah, they're really good. I wear them and it's made a huge difference to not getting injured so far, touch wood. It's goodbye from me, Coach Montgomery.
It's goodbye from me, Coach Beresford.
It's goodbye from me, Coach Philip.
And it's goodbye from Wendy Riggs.
Bye, Wendy.
Nick's housewife.
Cheerio.
No, don't call her that.